right, so get ready because we are diving deep into the Sliders universe.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be tackling a 3-issue comic arc called Darkest Hour. And, this one gets pretty intense, even a little disturbing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's not your typical lighthearted, romp through parallel worlds.
Not at all. What really gets me about this story is how it takes that core concept of Sliders, that jumping between parallel Earths, and just twists it into something much darker.
Right.
It's not just the usual weirdness of, different realities,
right,
but this curse
that
just amplifies the worst impulses.
Yeah, it really gets under your skin. And, for those who haven't slid into the world of Sliders before, it's essentially this group that accidentally discovers this technology to travel between parallel Earths.
Right.
Sometimes these worlds are, just a little different.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're wildly bizarre.
For sure.
And things rarely go according to plan. But this story, it's like someone took the unsettling factor and just cranked it up to 11.
Absolutely. And right from the start, we're introduced to the source of this darkness. The Zirkurvians, incredibly powerful beings, but
There's a catch.
there's a catch.
Yeah.
They're trapped in two-dimensional space.
Oh, wow.
They were once capable of destroying entire worlds, but now they're desperate to regain their 3D forms.
So, they've lost a dimension.
They've lost a dimension.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they're flat?
They're flat Stanley on a cosmic scale.
And that's got to be frustrating.
It's got to be frustrating.
Especially when you used to be able to, destroy planets and stuff.
Exactly. And their leader, Murad, he's just fixated on revenge. He blames Quinn Mallory, the main Slider, for their predicament, believing that Quinn's travels disrupted their existence somehow.
Oh, so it's Quinn's fault.
He thinks so, yeah.
Right.
So the question is, what does a desperate, vengeful being with dwindling power do?
I don't know. What does he do?
He lashes out. Murad drains energy from his own fleet, even sacrificing his followers to fuel a psychic attack aimed at the Sliders.
So he's not messing around.
No, he's not messing around, and it really raises the question of how far would you go to reclaim what you've lost, especially if you were once this being of immense power.
Right, yeah. How far would you go?
Exactly.
Would you sacrifice your friends?
Well, he does. He goes all in on this attack.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of trapping the Sliders as he intended, it backfires.
Oh, no.
It amplifies their negative emotions.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
So he's basically accidentally cursed them with their own inner darkness.
Yeah, it's like he gave them a mirror to their own worst selves.
Right, and that sets the stage for the whole story.
Exactly, and this is where things take a turn. It becomes less about the external threats and more about that internal struggle.
Yeah.
The Sliders are now facing their own amplified negativity. And each world they visit seems to exploit a different aspect of that darkness.
Yeah, it's like each world is custom designed to push their buttons. So their first stop after this curse seems pretty normal on the surface, a typical suburban neighborhood.
Yeah, deceptively normal.
Yeah, very much so. But even here, that curse starts to show its influence. They encounter a young boy, Vern, who calls himself the Penny King.
The Penny King.
He's got this jar of pennies hidden under his porch. And the Sliders, being the Sliders, they're short on cash and time before their next jump.
Right, always scrambling.
Yeah, always scrambling.
Classic Sliders.
And this seemingly simple situation just throws a wrench into their usual dynamic.
Right.
We see Quinn, who's typically the moral compass of the group, make a very surprising choice.
What does he do?
He steals the pennies.
He steals the pennies.
And it's not just out of necessity.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
this unsettling, almost sinister grin on his face.
Wow.
And Wade, another Slider, is just completely taken aback by his behavior.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because this is not the Quinn that they know.
Yes.
And Quinn throws out this line to Wade Arity. There are whole sides of me you've never seen.
Really?
Yeah, definitely not the Quinn Mallory we're used to. It really makes you wonder what's lurking beneath the surface of our own personalities. What might emerge if our negative traits were amplified?
That's a scary thought.
Yeah, for sure.
And things get even more disturbing when they slide into the next world.
Oh, boy.
A dystopian society. And this place is all about technological advancement, but in a way that completely throws out what we consider human. They've replaced their bodies with robotic ones, achieved a kind of twisted immortality.
So they're all robots?
Yeah, pretty much. They transfer brains into these metal shells. They even digitize consciousness to a global neural network.
So no individuality?
No, it's all about the collective.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of lonely.
It's a chilling vision of a future obsessed with conquering death, but at the cost of everything that makes us human. And the leader of this world, Monk Sharav, he seems disturbingly comfortable with this reality.
Okay.
He even, eats.
What?
Yeah, but it's this synthetic, oil-like substance.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Oh, that's just creepy.
Yeah.
So not exactly a welcoming place.
Not exactly.
The sliders are obviously horrified.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, they represent everything organic and human.
Yes.
Which clashes violently with the sterile, synthetic world.
Right. It's like staring into a distorted mirror of our own pursuit of progress.
Yeah.
Makes you question how far we're willing to go and what we might lose along the way.
And this is just the beginning.
It is.
The real question is, how will the sliders navigate this world where their own inner darkness is being exploited at every turn? And then Monk Sheriff just drops this bombshell on them.
What's that?
He offers them a choice. Trade their bodies for robotic ones, become holograms, or stay as they are.
Who's basically join them or become digital ghosts.
Yeah, but there's a catch.
Oh, there's always a catch.
All 4 sliders have to agree.
Ah, so he's playing on their unity.
Exactly, and he specifically dangles the idea of eternal fame in front of Rembrandt.
Ooh, that's tempting.
Right. Especially because we know the curse has amplified his desire for recognition.
It's like a deal with the devil.
Yeah, but the devil's offering immortality and fame in this really messed up world.
It really makes you think about what we're willing to sacrifice for what we want.
And of course, this just throws more fuel on the fire of the curse. It drives a wedge between them.
Yeah, you can't help but wonder how you would react in that situation.
Right, that pressure to make a choice that affects not just you, but your friends.
And possibly your very humanity.
Exactly. And meanwhile, Wade, ever the resourceful one, she manages to hack into Proxy's network.
Of course she does. She's good at that.
And what she finds,
I bet it's not good.
it's pretty disturbing.
What is it?
It reveals this really dark history behind Proxy. Like, the truth behind their shiny, advanced facade is way uglier than they let on.
There's always a dark side to these utopian societies.
Yeah, and then we have the professor, usually the voice of reason, right?
Right.
He starts expressing these doubts, these suspicions. He even worries that maybe the people they escaped with from the previous world aren't actually their friends.
Oh, wow. So the paranoia is setting in.
Big time.
Yeah, the curse is really messing with their heads.
Yeah, and poor Rembrandt. Shirav's offer has gotten to him. He's become aggressive, almost fanatical.
Really?
Yeah, he keeps talking about how he's found clarity. But to the other sliders, he's like a completely different person.
It's like he's been brainwashed.
Almost. And it's really sad to see.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if we can ever truly know another person. What happens when their core beliefs are just twisted by some outside force?
Yeah, it's a good point. Like, even the people closest to us can change in ways we never expect.
Well, then things really go off the rails, right?
Yeah, things get really bad. These buyers show up, and they're looking to inhabit organic bodies.
Oh, wow. So they want to be human again.
Yeah, essentially. And it becomes clear that the sliders aren't guests. They're commodities.
That's messed up.
It is. And the hypocrisy of the inhabitants is just glaring. They talk about being peaceful, evolved beyond those primitive desires, but they're holding the sliders captive. They're facilitating this whole body-snatching trade.
So much for transcending humanity.
Exactly. And faced with this horrifying reality, the sliders have to fight back. They manage to escape through the portal, but it's chaotic, violent.
I can imagine
It
that.
leaves a real mark on them.
Makes sense. So are they free from the darkness inside them?
That's the question. They return to what seems like their original Earth, but things feel off.
How so?
Relationships are strained. There's this underlying tension.
Like the curse followed them home.
Yeah. And we see this really poignant moment between Quinn and his mother.
Oh, how does that go away?
Remember, the curse has been amplifying all these negative emotions. And their meeting is anything but heartwarming. It's tense, filled with all this unspoken resentment. You can feel years of unresolved issues just bubbling to the surface.
That's heavy.
It is, but it's a crucial moment. Because seeing his mother's vulnerability, her love for him despite their problems, it sparks something in Quinn. The darkness starts to fade, and we see a glimpse of the Quinn we remember. The one who values compassion, connection.
So it's like a crack in the armor of the curse.
Exactly. And the other sliders have similar moments on this earth.
So they're starting to see how the curse has warped them.
Yeah, it's subtle, but they're recognizing it.
And that's the first step to breaking free, right?
It is, but it also comes with this heavy responsibility.
To undo what's been done.
Exactly, but how do you fight a curse that's woven itself into your very being?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It is, but the sliders, facing their darkest hour, they come up with a plan. A plan as risky as it is desperate.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
The sliders, they've realized how this curse has messed them up,
Yeah.
but just knowing that doesn't break the curse.
Right. It's not like they can just, shake it off.
Exactly. This curse is like deeply rooted in that psychic attack.
Right. Fueled by the desperation of a dying race.
And their negative emotions have been turned against them.
Yeah, it's not an easy fix.
Okay, so what do?
Well, they got to do something.
They come up with a pretty wild plan.
Okay.
They decide to slide back.
With interdimensional travel and psychic energy in the mix.
Exactly. Very messy.
It's a desperate move, but I guess when you're fighting for your very essence,
Yeah.
your core self,
There aren't a lot of options.
and imagine that pressure. Like if they fail,
Yeah.
they might lose themselves forever to this darkness.
It's pretty high stakes. And the journey back, brutal.
I bet.
They're hit by all these interdimensional forces,
Oh, wow.
almost ripped apart.
So the curse is fighting back.
It's like it doesn't want to let them go,
Yeah, like it's trying to hold on to them.
but they don't give up.
They're tough.
They push through all the pain and chaos, and finally they land back on their Earth free from the curse.
They did it.
But as we've seen throughout this whole story, nothing's ever simple with the sliders.
What happens now?
There's this lingering unease.
Unease.
Yeah, like they're back, they're themselves again,
Yeah.
but their Earth is subtly different.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's like this reminder that even if you undo something bad,
Right.
the consequences can still linger.
Yeah, like ripples in a pond.
Exactly. It's not a clean ending.
I see.
It leaves you with questions, wondering what their experiences have really changed.
It makes you think about choice and consequence.
Oh, right. Especially when you're dealing with forces beyond our understanding.
Like you said, nothing is ever simple.
And that brings us back to you, the listener. We've gone deep into this dark corner of the Sliders universe, explored identity, free will, technology, and the power of human connection.
We've seen the sliders at their best and worst.
Yeah, facing their own darkness and threats beyond imagination. But what about you? What resonates with you from this story?
Yeah, what stands out?
What questions does it raise for you about choices, paths, and the things that shape our lives?
It's a lot to think about.
It is, and we encourage you to keep exploring. Explore the Sliders universe, and maybe even take a look at your own perceptions of the world.
Yeah, sometimes the most unsettling stories are the ones that make us look at ourselves
Exactly, the ones that force us to confront our own shadows.
and our choices in the face of darkness.
And on that note, we'll slide out of this deep dive for now.
See you next time.
Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning. And remember, the journey is just as important as the destination.